Aloha everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here with me as I go through our proposal. You all have signed the confidentiality agreement, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Using the outline you've been provided, I'll have you folks turn to page 6. Here we have a bit of an overview of what exactly can be expected when working with us here at Ho'omau. The key to any successful business, I believe, is building trust and establishing strong relationships. And in creating this business, I've made sure to do so with the values, beliefs, and influence of my culture, that culture being Hawaiian. The word Ho'omau translates to perseverance and to be steadfast and strong. At Ho'omau Tax and Business Solutions, we plan to provide excellent accounting services with a focus on helping the small businesses of Hawaii. My goal is to provide the small businesses of Hawaii with affordable financial services and the knowledge while providing with them the tools necessary for a strong foundation for their growing business. This will be reflected not only in the way I conduct my business, but in how I plan to achieve my goals and future success. Some of the benefits to the community that I'd like to point out are our affordable options. We have ample amount of services, packages available to accommodate any size business with the competitive price tag to match. We did some extensive research to make sure that these prices were competitive. Starting small, being a small business ourselves, we know what it takes to start from scratch. In having that experience, we've already done the trials and errors for you. We have the experience to provide you with the tools and foundations for your success. And lastly, this is a big one I'd like to touch on a little bit more as we go on through the presentation, but targeting various age groups with appropriate classes, with age-appropriate classes, we will be able to provide important financial information to a range of ages, beginning with young adults in high school to the kupuna in our communities. So, Ho'omau and community outreach, what can you expect? What is expected of us? We plan to provide low-cost/free financial literacy classes to those who meet the criteria. And the classes will be available for, like I mentioned before, high school students between the ages 14 and up, currently enrolled college students, and adults in kupuna of all ages and knowledge. So again, why is financial literacy so important? As defined by the RBC Wealth Management, financial literacy is the knowledge needed to make sound financial decisions. Understanding financial literacy helps to create and empower competent adults who are able to conduct both personal and professional business wisely, whether that be purchasing a new home or starting a new business. Without it, many tend to struggle and eventually land themselves in a great deal of debt and or financial trouble. In doing my research about the reality of financial literacy in Hawaii, I found these two articles that really stood out to me. In the Honolulu Civil Beat article, it was titled "Two-Thirds of Hawaii Residents Struggle Financially." They had pulled a study from the Financial Health Network, and in the study, it revealed that the greater percentage of 69% of the residents in Hawaii are now facing financial challenges. That is due to the cost of living, definitely, but also the lack of financial resources and knowledge on how to combat these rising costs. Understanding financial literacy helps us to make better decision makings when it comes to finances. And if we don't have that foundation, how are we expected to make these important decisions? And the second article was from the Nation's Report Card of Financial Literacy. In this report card, Hawaii actually received a D, and the way that they created this criteria was for each of the states in the United States, they put together and pulled together how each state goes about offering financial literacy courses, classes, education, whether it just be for the population in general or within the curriculum of the schools. And although Hawaii Department of Education standards with opportunities to integrate financial literacy concepts had notable accomplishments, there was still the drive home of the need to improve on having classes in our curriculum starting from kindergarten all the way to high school, which is why I felt it was very important that we include the high school students within our opportunities to provide those free to low cost financial literacy classes, because I think it's important for that age group while they're still young enough to absorb all this information. They're also transitioning into adulthood, transitioning into these positions of needing to make financial decisions. They may not be big financial decisions, but everything, I believe, counts. And so in doing that, we are able to provide them with a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more confidence when making these decisions. Here I just have the Financial Health Network study broken down from what I found in that article from the Honolulu Civil Beat, and it showed that 50% in the survey, and they surveyed about 828,000 residents of Hawaii. So 50% of that number was financially vulnerable, and that meant that they met few of the criteria created by the Financial Health Network. And 31% were financially healthy, which meant that they met most of the criteria. In fact, they scored high on the criteria created by the Financial Health Network. And lastly, a whopping 54% are just financially coping. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they are doing terrible, but they're not doing great either, which is a concern, because we want our community, we want the people of Hawaii to be successful and to be thriving and to be able to make these decisions so that they are able to stay and thrive. So lastly, low cost free financial literacy classes. Providing these services, we our hope is to drastically reduce the amount of Hawaii residents struggling with financial hardship. And also our goal is to give back to the community their confidence when making financial decisions. And our hope is to create a new opportunity for increased generational wealth. Mahalo for your time. I will answer any questions you folks have. And I'd just like to point out on this last slide, we have the site sorted of the information that I pulled from and everything, so you can find that on the last slide. Thank you again for your time.